Hello there, welcome to part 19 of my 10 Minutes at the Piano playlist. This one looking at dissection philosophy. Originally I wanted to make a longer video, but I realised that there are so many examples that I need to just give you two, and I can make this into a nice little 10-11 minute video and you'll get the idea. What I'm going to encourage you to do, as always, is look at the description below and see all the related videos to anything I talk about in this video, because I'm going to be swinging through a few topics here. The basic idea of dissection is that when you come across a difficulty in repertoire or technical exercise, you break it down into its smallest components until you get to a point where you can do something or you know something, and then you start to rebuild in the direction of the difficulty. So like I say, I've got two examples here, and I'm just going to give you an example of how to break it down, how they can be personalized as you go down, and then how you build it back up again and put it back into context. So usually the problem people have is that they are working on a difficulty and they will stay at the piano and keep repeating it, which is just reinforcing the fact that you can't do it, and that has psychological negative effects, which is negative for your progress. Whereas if you take it out, take the difficulty out of context of the song or the technical exercise out of the book of technical exercises, and just start to play around with it, dissect it, work on smaller components of it and personalize it and play around, it will be much more beneficial when you put it all back together again, and you'll find that when you play the piece, that difficulty will pretty much not exist anymore. Plus you will have acquired skills which you can apply in other pieces and other technical exercises, of course. So the first one is actually something I've noticed has been a bit of a problem for some people in another video I did, which is a tutorial for Elton John's Your Song. Of course, link below. Everything I say has a video link below. And there's one part, there's something he does in all of his songs. It's his accompanying style, and it's broken chords. So, and slash chords. There's two things in this. So first of all, something that he does to accompany himself is he will play a chord, E flat, say, that's the key of the song, Your Song, and he'll kind of do that around the chords, and then go to A flat. So he's playing exactly the same chord, but he's playing it in a broken rhythmic style, and that's, it seems, quite difficult for some people. So that's why I've put that one in here. The second one will be walking bass, just at the end of this video. So how do you dissect that if it is a problem for you? Well, broken chords are based on inversions of chords. So first of all, if we take out that problem from the song, there's a little part where we're in the key of E flat and he'll go, then he'll go to B flat or something, but it's got that very nice kind of, you know, nice pattern, descending pattern. And if you can't do that, there's a reason. So do you know, first of all, we dissect it, do you know inversions of chords? Well, you can only know inversions of chords if you know the chords in their root position. And then what kind of chords? Well, what chords are appropriate to the song that you're playing, the style that you're playing? Usually it would always be based on major and minor triads. So in all 12 keys, go through to see if you know the major and minor triads of all the 12 keys. And you can create your own exercises. I have many videos on different ideas for that. But very basically, can you simply play the major triads and the minor triads in all the keys? One thing I recommend is to not play them like I just did. I just did that as a demonstration, but when you're actually going through to check, I recommend going around in the circle of fourths. If you get into the habit of playing major minor, that you're not actually learning the minor, you're just learning how to play the major and then move the middle note. So that's not very beneficial. A flat minor, what you'll do is you'll kind of play the major shape and then you'll go to the minor. So you'll kind of go like this, you know, or you'll play G minor, you'll play the G major shape and then you'll play the minor. So that's not helping. You need to go directly to the minors, you know, without hesitation. So I recommend just checking if you know the major and minor triads by going around the cycle of fourths, of course, video below. So you might go, you know, C major, F major, you know, B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, B, E, A, D, G, C, without hesitation. Do you know the minors of that? C, F, B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, B, E, A, D, G, C, without hesitation. So major and minor triads, you know those. If you don't know those, where do chords come from? They come from major scales. So you can dissect all the way down to major scales. And I'd say there are basically two things which are very important in music, and especially piano, of course. It's rhythm, because it don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing. You need to have that steady, what I call internal metronome, video article again. And everything comes from major scales. Everything. So the broken chord idea has been broken all the way down to inversions, root position, major and minor triads, and if you don't know those, then you need to know your major scales so that you can then find the major and minor triads, majors first, then minor. So that's quite a nice thing, and as you go down, you'll realise what you do and don't know. So it's a very good self-discovery exercise as well. The other idea I said about the Elton John piece is slash chords, and that takes me to intervals. So something he'll do a lot is he'll play a chord, demonstration key of C, and what he'll do in the left hand is he'll play either the third with the chord or the fifth. And you see each time the bass changes, it almost sounds like a different chord, but it has a rising feeling, and this is called a slash chord. So you would write this as the main chord, you would write, so C major, could be C7, and then forward slash, and then the bass note that you want to play, or that you have to play. So Elton John very often will put the third, and then also the fifth, but more often than not the third in the bass. And that even happens after that E flat broken chord diminishing, descending idea. He'll kind of go, and then it goes into B flat with a D in the bass, and B flat, the third of B flat is the D, so it's B flat slash D, so that's a slash chord on the third. So in that part of the song. So it's quite a good song to actually practice some pop styles and some accompanying piano elements. So how do you work on slash chords? Well, what are slash chords made of? They're made of intervals in the bass. So you need to know what the third intervals are and what the fifth intervals are, because they're the most common slash chord bass notes. You might also get the seventh in the bass. That's quite a common one also that he would use. That's that sounds like the song he did with George Michael, Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me. It has that kind of that descending sound to the dominant 7 in the bass. So that would be C7 slash B flat, slash chord on the dominant 7. So again, it's an interval. What is the dominant 7? And there's a nice little way to do that using both hands, because this is not necessarily a technical exercise, it's just a realization exercise. Do you know your intervals? Well, let's just do it using two hands, up and down the major scale. Let's only highlight the first, third, fifth and seventh. So, of course, the root, the third, the fifth, the major seventh. So you can see these. Now let's do it with the second and the fourth and the sixth. Now that might be easy on the white notes on the piano, but let's do it in the key of D flat. So you know the major scale of D flat, and you're going to find only the third. So could you find that quickly? Third, fifth, major 7, and then the 2 and the 4 and the 6. The second, the fourth, and the sixth. So it really reinforces where if you actually do know your intervals of major scales. So you can play around with exercises like that, which has enabled you to then be able to play slash chords quite well in the left hand, because you'll know the third, the fifth, the seventh intervals very, very quickly. And of course, all of the things that you're learning when you dissect those problems can be applied in many other ways on the piano. So there are just endless benefits that I can't possibly talk about in this video. I know I've got about a minute left or so, and I wanted to very briefly talk about the walking bass. Walking bass, you can dissect that into being basically, the walking bass is normally based on the, excuse the pun, is based on the 4 notes of a chord. So usually it would be a 6th chord or a 7th chord or a major 7 chord or a minor 7 chord. So in the key of C, might be a major 7, E flat, major 7. You're just playing the notes of the chord, E flat minor 6. What depends on what the key signature is. But the walking bass is basically primarily it's playing over the chord. So again, you dissect that. What do I need to know? I need to know my chord shapes. So that takes you in the direction of mastering all your chords before you come back to the walking bass. The technical aspect of chord is let's call it chromaticism. So a nice way to get your left hand free and loosened is to play any random group of 4 notes. Using any fingers. If you do this a lot, you'll start to remove your conscious interference and you'll get used to the way that you play bass lines. And that's really, really beneficial. So I quite like this idea of playing groups of 4 notes. And you're always feeling that 1, 2, 3, 4 in a swing context. It had a bit of pop there for Elton John, a bit of jazz for the walking bass. And then the next thing from that would be to do that, maybe that's how you should begin it. Then have a look at the chord and doing it over chords. That kind of thing. And then look at progressions, so C, F and G, the 1st, the 4th, the 5th. Up to F. Up to G. C again. Then you might want to combine the 2 together, and that's how I'm going to finish this video, by connecting them using chromatic movement. I'll go from C to F. Let me go from C to F more directly. Let me do that more slowly. C to F. Chromatically to F. Chromatically down to C. Let's go chromatically to G. Chromatically up to C. That kind of thing. So what you're basically doing is using the chromaticism and the freedom of doing that with the chord and the chord progression, and then blending them together. So that's quite, and then of course you would apply that to the song you're working on, which has a fixed chord progression, and you'll find it comes out quite well, quite easily. I will leave it there. What I'd like you to do really is to maybe share in the comments your current technical difficulties or repertoire phrase difficulties, and we can see if we can dissect them. That might be beneficial for other people as well. Maybe see how you would dissect it first and work on things that you can't yet do, so you're taking it away from the music, away from the musical context, and dissecting it, personalizing it, having fun with it, going through the different keys and discovering more things about your abilities and yourself as a pianist in general. As always, likes, comments, subscriptions are always welcome. Have a look at my books and blog, and I'll see you in the next video. All the best, and bye for now.